With an expression full of determination, Lan clenched his teeth and attacked using all his strength. Lu Shang's eyes began to shine with calmness, and with a smile he blocked the attack without much effort. The fight was so intense that their energies began to clash with each other. The shockwave made both of them step back. Lan's body was trembling, and his eyes were full of fury since Lu Shang was forcing him to get serious. His mask had already broken, and only a small piece remained stuck near his eye. He started staring at our boy, and his eyes began to shine with rage. Lan started screaming and decided to attack with everything. Lan unleashed all his power, causing a suffocating green martial energy to begin emerging from his body. He asked our boy to prepare to die. Lu Shang adopted a defensive stance and began observing Lan in silence, knowing that he had to get serious too. His eyes widened with excitement, and a smile spread across his face upon realizing that he could still have a little more fun. Just before the fierce battle between Lu Shang and Lan could continue, a man got off the spaceship, began walking toward Lan, raised his hand and asked him to stop, revealing that it had all been a misunderstanding. Upon hearing this, Lan turned around, and his eyes widened in confusion. Another space officer approached. Lu Shang extended his hands and with a sincere expression explained that there was a misunderstanding. Lu Shang's attention fixed on him. With an angry expression, he asked what he was talking. While he was trying to calm Lu Shang down, his subordinate approached Lan, put his hand near his mouth, and with a nervous expression explained that Lu Shang was not a star pirate, but a native, inhabitant of the blue planet in front of them. Lan crossed his arms and began to ponder silently, not knowing what was happening. With eyes shining with confusion, he adjusted the mask, turned on the headset, and asked his superiors who Lu Shang was. Lan's superiors revealed where Lu Shang came from. Upon hearing this, Lan's eyes widened with seriousness. He questioned whether they were sure that this young man named Lu Shang was really a native inhabitant of the blue planet A28462. Lu Shang crossed his arms and calmed down. Lan's attention was fixed on him. He couldn't help but clench his teeth and feel furious. He couldn't believe that a native, born on a low-level resource planet, surprisingly possessed a supreme-level superhuman constitution, one that, being level 9, could be compared to that of a level 11. He was furious to notice that Lu Shang mastered 2 paths of the rules. Lan calmed down and, with a serene expression, began to touch his chin and couldn't help but smile. He decided to look at things from another perspective, realizing that Lu Shang was not a person, but a stellar super treasure that no one had discovered or exploited until now. An existence more valuable than 100 life-bearing planets. With a calm gaze, Lu Shang turned towards Lan and began to observe him in silence. In Lan's eyes, Lu Shang was the perfect warrior. Lan decided to introduce himself. Upon hearing this, Lu Shang's eyes widened with curiosity. With a kind smile, Lan bowed his head to Lu Shang and introduced himself as Fal Arland, the legal enforcement officer of the Yamu sector, also known as Lan. While the remains of the Crimen's Eye pirate spaceship were floating in space, Lu Shang felt cheerful, and with a smile mentioned that he was also delighted to meet Lan. With an annoyed expression, Lu Shang began pointing at the remains of the spaceship with his thumb and made it clear that Lan should not think he wouldn't have to pay for destroying his ship, as he considered it his loot. Lan was left in silence, not knowing what to do. Lu Shang closed his eyes and let out a sigh. He remembered that after all, they had come to capture the Star Pirates. And this Lan was like a police chief. This led him to wonder if his previous actions would count as an attack on an officer. Lu Shang began to touch his chin, and an excited smile appeared on his face. He knew that this was not his fault. He was just a stellar peasant from a remote and isolated planet who wanted to protect his home and make a living through hard work. He didn't have to know who they were, and calmed himself with the idea that, as the saying goes, ignorance is innocence. Lu Shang's eyes widened in surprise, since he never thought that one day he too would become a country bumpkin. Lan closed his eyes and began to show a kind smile. With a calm gaze, Lan extended his hand and admitted that Lu Shang had provided them with great help and contribution in the operation to capture the Crimson Eyes pirate gang in the Yamu Star Zone. He stated that he would faithfully report everything to the Federation of Yamu to get Lu Shang the greatest reward. But then an evil smile began to form on Lan's face. He revealed to Lu Shang that, in order to receive the reward, he had to go with them to the main star of the Federation in the Yamu Star Zone. Upon hearing this, our boy's eyes widened in surprise and confusion. While Lan's eyes were shining with confidence, he began looking at his spaceship parked behind him and explained with a smile that the Yamu Star Zone was about 500 light-years away. He added that, with the Silverbird ship, a round trip would take 1 or 2 months. Lan Cheng got off his spaceship, and upon seeing that Lu Shang was safe, he couldn't help but feel happy, while on the other side, Zhao Lin remained silent. Lu Shang's attention focused on Lan. Our boy let out a sigh and, with an uncertain expression, questioned whether he had to go, explaining that he was quite busy, while Lan's eyes were shining with joy with a tempting smile. He revealed that the reward was worth at least 10 times more than the Demon Claw ship. Upon hearing this, Lu Shang became excited and changed his mind. With a smile, he asked when they could leave. With an excited gaze, Lan mentioned that they could go whenever Lu Shang was ready. Lan put his hand behind his back and activated the device. Meanwhile, not far from them was Lan Cheng. A smile spread across his face when he noticed they had stopped fighting, which meant they could now approach. He was sure that when they brought Lu Shang back and his talent manifested, it would cause a sensation throughout the Star Zone. He began to gaze toward the ground and couldn't help but feel excited as he thought that as the discoverer, he would also receive a generous reward. Full of enthusiasm, he asked Zhao Lin if she thought it would be possible to obtain an audience with the president of the Star Zone. Zhao Lin began to observe Lan Cheng in silence with a curious expression. He turned toward the spaceship and with a serious gaze revealed that Lan Cheng was being too optimistic. Upon hearing this, Lan Cheng felt somewhat confused and came out of his thoughts. He began to lose his mind, questioning how he could be too optimistic and asking him if he didn't believe that Lu Shang was as prodigious as he claimed, reminding him that it was a Dao of Ma, level 9 facing a level 11. Zhao Lin's eyes began to shine with fear. He did not doubt Lu Shang's talent, but rather doubted that they could successfully bring him back to the White Mist Star Zone. Lan Cheng could not help but feel somewhat confused as he did not know why Zhao Lin thought that. Zhao Lin's attention was fixed on Lu Shang and mentioned that if they had been able to see how extraordinary he was, the execution judge of the Yamu district would also notice it. He questioned Lan Cheng if he really thought that Lan would let them take Lu Shang so easily. Lan Cheng could not help clenching his fist and trembling with rage. He questioned why he wouldn't do it, insisting that even though he was an execution judge, he couldn't just snatch someone from them. According to him, Lu Shang was a person from his direct territory in the Beowu sector. Zhao Lin remembered that Lu Shang was not yet part of the Beowu sector because Lan Cheng had forgotten to register him. Lan Cheng could not help but feel even more furious as he remembered that Lu Shang still did not have a registered legal citizen status. Lu Shang's eyes began to shine with seriousness and martial energy began to emerge from his. Zhao Lin crossed his arms and nodded his head, explaining that although Lu Shang was within the territory of the Beowu sector, he was still a stellar orphan, someone within the Stellar Federation but without legal identity. If Judge Executor Lan took him first to Yamu District to register him, then naturally he would be considered a citizen of Yamu District. Lan Cheng's eyes widened in surprise as he began to feel a strange presence. Noticing this, Zhao Lin panicked. With their bodies surrounded by martial energy, Lan's men appeared around them. The one wearing a mask congratulated them. They had guessed correctly. He informed them that Lord Lan had ordered them to cooperate with them and Accompany them to the Yamu District Department of Justice to leave a written record of the operation to capture the Crimson Eyes Star pirate group. Lan Cheng and Zhao Lin panicked, not knowing what to do. With a nervous expression, Lan Cheng asked if it was possible to contact the execution judge of the Beowu sector. Zhao Lin remained silent, knowing this was not good. An evil smile spread across one of their faces. Not long after, the man wearing a mask activated his martial power, appeared behind them, and in the blink of an eye struck them on the nape of their necks, causing them to lose consciousness. He put his arms behind his back and with a smile gave the order to his subordinates to confiscate all communication devices and lock them up immediately in the spaceship. One of them carried Lan Cheng on his shoulder and grabbed Zhao Lin, then with a confident smile nodded his head. Zhao Lin had not yet lost consciousness, and with a furious expression asked them if they were aware that this could provoke a war between the two star sectors. Upon hearing this, the man wearing a mask began to turn around. Then an evil smile spread across his face when he revealed that Lan had made an extremely wise decision and gave the order to his men to take them away. Zhao Lin began to sweat. For him, this was unimaginable. He couldn't even think about the kind of reaction the Beowu sector's counselors would have when they found out that a genius with an extraordinary body and with extremely high potential to reach solar level had been taken by another star sector. At the same time, in the vast galaxy of the Beowu star sector was Lan Ji's ship, the warship known as Lan Kiao. Lan Ji, a man with a mustache, began to swirl his wine glass, realizing that the liquor was delicious. In front of him, there was a table with delicious dishes. He let out a sigh upon realizing that the infamous group of stellar pirates, Crimsonized, a plague across 4 sectors, had finally been completely eliminated. At least now he had something to present to his superiors. After eating, he activated the system window and began to touch his mustache with his hand. For him, best of all was that Judge Lan from Sector Yamu had even agreed to voluntarily cede 1/3 of the credit. In exchange, all he asked for was that 2 of his agents be allowed to return with him to make a statement. He considered this not even worth calling a condition. It was an absolute bargain. After the smile, he took a sip of wine, questioning whether Lan had become another person and wondering since when he was so generous. He remembered that the last time he had almost dueled with the Department of Justice from the Hydair sector just for a fraction of the merit. However, he decided it didn't matter. If they had earned part of the credit without lifting a finger, there was no point in being picky. At that moment, someone wearing heels entered the room. It was a sexy woman who carried a file folder. There were devices floating around her. She approached Lan Ji and with a serious gaze informed him that a mid-level agent named Zhao Lin was requesting an audience with him because he claimed to have an extremely important matter to report. With a curious gaze, Lan Ji asked her where he was. Her eyes began to shine with calmness as she explained that he was the person whom Judge Executor Lan had taken to take his statement, and now they could not contact him. Lan Ji clasped his hands and, with a smile, decided to wait for him to return in order to talk about the matter. His subordinate also revealed that Counselor Jiayi Ziming had invited him to the first birthday party of his children, and it was tonight. Lan Ji realized that this was important and gave her the order for the Lankao spaceship to move at full speed. She nodded her head. The spaceship began traveling at full speed, and according to Lan Ji, today was a great day. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part,